I'm Alan Robarge, an attachment-focused psychotherapist and a relationship educator, and I want to say a few words about feeling fragmented in our relationships. It's an ongoing experience. I work with clients on a regular basis in my own life, really questioning, dropping down into what does it mean if you feel fragmented. And we're talking about fragmented mind, fragmented body, fragmented memories. This experience that there's this chronic, ongoing, unsettled sense of who you are doesn't quite fit together. And that creates an added layer of needing to obscure that and hide that. And we try to do our best not to come into a room and say, hey, everybody, I'm fragmented today. How are you? Hello, everyone. I don't quite know who I am because I can't quite locate a grounded center, cohesive sense of self. And maybe it feels like you're hanging on to a thread and you're blowing in the wind, and knowing you're having clarity of mind, a, a calmer sense of this wholeness or integrated uh, awareness with your external surroundings, the people you're in a relationship with, and your own internal experience. It has a consistent congruency where it fits together. And for some of us, life doesn't quite fit together. There's not this congruence, and this is very unsettling. And what happens also is that the the pieces, the parts, the fragmented experience, most probably for many of us, occurred in the context of relationships. So when intimacies involved, vulnerabilities involved, open-heartedness is involved, that was the realm, that was the landscape, that is the place, the type, the language of intimacy is where the woundedness occurred. And we learned, shut yourself down, cut yourself off from certain parts of yourself. It is not safe to be you, or by right of some experience, traumatic experience, a very extreme environment that says you can't be yourself, don't be you, we don't want to see you. Become a pretend version of who you are, and really make sure that you manage these fragmented parts, but present and pretend as if you're not fragmented. I'm fine. I'm fine. Sure, I'm fine. And we kind of overcompensate on just how together that we have it. And then we're in relationship. We try to be in relationship, or we're not in relationship, but we feel this deep, deep longing and loneliness to be mirrored. Will you see me? Will you mirror back to me who you do you see my goodness? Do you see my worth? Now that's a challenge, because that is the foundation of a good, secure connection, and a healthy relating, and healing and growing and living life is built on really a lot having the freedom to be so exposed in your vulnerability and in the fullness of your heart, to be so exposed that someone else can say, wow, I'm falling in love with your goodness. I want to mirror back to you energetically, the look on my face, my words, my face, my body language. Just want to let you know, I really, really get you. You're beautiful. And that's so hard to receive if there's not a congruent template or a place to put that piece. Because if you're feeling already fragmented, the truth is that we need to be able to do that for ourselves, also to let it in. And we also, the paradox is we can't necessarily do it for ourselves or learn how to do it if we also don't practice having the experience of someone else mirroring it. So I don't think those exist in a hierarchy or in a linear sense. They need to coexist. And what I mean is I need to simultaneously come to know my own centered place of goodness, of who I am, and to make sense of the fragmented pieces, to begin to knit them together, to notice how they fuse together, to notice how there's also simultaneously in my fragmented experience a kind of unwavering wholeness, my truth, my heart, my grounded sense of self. And that requires a deeper dropping down into intuition, wisdom self, even spiritual self. What this means, beyond the personal, the transpersonal, what I also call finding ocean, to orient to the world like you're the poet, where you see the goodness in the world around you, and you see the kindness, and you see the beauty of connection and relationship and community, and that you're knitted into that fabric. And you can see the wounds, the hurt, the challenges, the very dysfunctional ways of behavior that perhaps have shown up in your past, in your family, and how you've been treated, and even begin to continually strengthen that grounded, centered place, that integrated wholeness, that you're no longer the dysfunction, even though you can still feel at times what it's like to have that internal building blocks, that scaffolding of your identity implode, your ego strength implodes, you fall apart, you disconnect from resource, and you can feel very much collapsed on yourself. And in those moments, it's so painful because we think, oh, I thought I worked through this. I thought was done. And instead of thinking it's either or, and we're never supposed to experience that, what we notice is the recovery time is different, and that there can be both existing at the same time, that I still retain an awareness of my core goodness, even though I also can experience my sense of self implode and collapse in a way that disconnects me from clarity and resource. And I start spinning yet again, as if, think of like a snow globe, that you shake up this snow globe, and all of my different fragmented parts are swirling around each other, or in my chest. This snow globe like lives in my chest, and I'm trying to go to work, I'm trying to talk to people, I'm trying to interact in life, and I have all of these moving parts that are so fragmented. A constant practice of empathy towards ourselves when we feel like this, but also continually strengthening and not losing sight of, and I have this core grounded place of wholeness, the what's often described as the place never left, the place never broke, this brilliant sanity, this basic goodness of that. It's okay that you're noticing at times that you're fragmented. We don't live in that place all of the time. And the struggle as we're practicing relationship, and that hopefully you find a few good people who mirror back your goodness, there's a practice, there's a skill at being able to let that in and find how that can also settle, where the snow globe can settle down, and there's entering more of a calm place. When many of us are in a activated, distressed, anxiety, the snow globe, broken, fragmented parts of ourselves are so agitated. We are looping in a circular thinking of what if, what if, what if. We enter a detective mode around life, a detective mode of what if this, what if only that, what if this, and really being suspicious, maybe even about the other person. I can't trust connection, I can't trust relationship. Then a fear mind that's also continually churning out these stories that are all about non-acceptance. I can't accept what's being shared. It's looking at relationship through uh, needing to prove the disconnect and losing sight of when there is connection. So we're looking for wholeness, we're looking for safety, and we want things to make sense. But when you're overly agitated and all of these sense of fragmented self is swirling inside of you, it becomes very, very hard to know how to take action, how to make choices, how to speak, how to move left, how to move right, how to have boundaries, how to trust. We're caught up in this whirlwind, and I want to then just say that internally there's just this wind blowing through us. So the therapeutic process of entering a relationship with a therapist, talking through these experiences, allowing yourself to feel safe even when you don't feel safe, in the whirlwind sense of the wind blowing through you, churning up all these fragmented parts. And we develop a skill to be able to work with the wind. We develop a skill to try to practice and accept those times when we really believe that we're broken and that we really believe that we don't have that much to offer, and when we don't know who we are, and to start to take it a little less seriously and to not get so preoccupied or caught up in that there's a truth to this, as opposed to it's a state of mind, like bad weather, like a rainstorm that's coming in and then it releases. It comes and goes and comes and goes and comes and goes. And this work of paying attention to fragmented goodness, fragmented center grounded self, confusion, wisdom, confusion, wisdom. Do you see? It's a rhythm. And the work that I do with clients, the work that you do with yourself, your healing work, is all about dropping down into paying attention to that rhythm and being able to bring some attention, some acceptance, some compassion, some kindness, regardless of if it's raining or if the rain clouds are moving out of your mind. And that all of it is who you are. And it's okay that sometimes you're fragmented. And over time, the more that we do this, the more that you do this, you're going to notice there's a shortening of the gap between the intensity of fragmented lost self and integrated whole self. That they begin to become the transition between the two is less and less extreme. And we could frame that and say that, well, that less extreme back and forth, that is the healing, that is the skill, that is the practice. We often feel fragmented. We get triggered and activated when there's not consistent, congruent mirroring coming back, the mirror, the image, someone responding in a way that's holding up your core values, that's holding up who you are as a person, in a way that they are saying, either directly, indirectly, with body language, through their facial expression, I see you, I see you, I know who you are, I really get you. And there's a delicious exhale, a delicious dropping in your chest, a kind of a very, a very, a very soft plopping into a really big, comfortable chair. That when you have this experience, and oftentimes it's described, it's what's called attunement. You feel the other person is in sync with you. You feel attuned, and your whole body just relaxes. Like, it is safe to be me. I can be in this moment. They are mirroring something back to me that just lets me know that I exist. I'm not this fragmented, worthless, confused, uncertain, tension-filled, anxiety, etc. I'm really here right now with you, and you are letting me know that you're here for me. So when we haven't had that, when that's been interrupted multiple times, and we just really haven't had that to the degree that we need developmentally to trust relationship, that we might continue to, we might not know how to find people who know how to mirror back our goodness. And we might surround ourselves with people who they themselves don't, that they need this as well. So the question to think about: when is your goodness mirrored back to you? To also think about: when is your, you extend empathy and that empathy is received? And you can substitute the word empathy for kindness, invitation to connect. Your, when you offer some compassion to understand another person's experience, are they able to let that in so that you know that it was received? Also, when was the last time that you received praise and encouragement, that you were told very directly, good job, or I just really enjoy your laugh. You make me laugh because you bring a lightness and a joy, like, and whatever it is, that these are all affirming your sense of self. And if we struggled, some history of faulty mirroring, not really quite having, imagine a person who's mirroring can only mirror to the degree to which their own mirror is clear. And if they are unclear in their life, if they have particular obstacles, addiction, mental health concerns, their own attachment wounds, certain types of personality limitations that really get in the way. We might even go as far as say, well, if they're feeling broken, their mirror is broken. If they're feeling fragmented, their mirror is fragmented. And then we're in relationship with them, and what's coming back to us, what's being mirrored, is a fragmented image of ourself. And isn't that scary? Isn't that confusing? And so the image that we're receiving is not that reliable. And we want it to be. Let's just assume, let's really say, well, imagine that's a parent. And you simultaneously love the parent, or you simultaneously want to love the parent, or you simultaneously have you have a core basic child dependency on that parent. But what's being mirrored back to you is this broken image, which is not really then who you are. But you internalize that and you think, well, that must be who I am. So you then would be challenged to do the same thing for yourself as a self parent, meaning to that kind of affirmation that you need, that kind of internal mirroring, that yes, we do need to be in relationship where other people do this for us. And simultaneously, we're also looking into our own innate mirror, the mirror of self, and saying, I see my goodness, I see my worth, I see my humor, I see my creativity, I see my interest in my world, in the world, I see my zest for life that I want to share. I see my love. I see that I'm full of love, and I am able to offer that to other people, to the world, to the community, in relationship. But if our own mirror that we're relying on is fragmented or has some broken parts in it, then we might not fully be able to let in the strength, the truth, the concentration of our own goodness. And so that's what healing work is. That's why we're doing this. It's why we're talking about this. And then sometimes we even have to say, hey, all of those assumptions and judgments I have about my own self image, they're actually not true. There are actually a whole series of very fragile beliefs based on a fragile, broken mirror that I inherited from someone else who themselves are feeling fragmented and have never really had someone give back to them a pure image of their goodness, of their humanity, of their tender heart. And there's a sadness. Do you feel it in this moment? If you don't have this, if you haven't had this, if you have a parent, also it's generational, it's cultural, and this sadness comes in of like, wow, so many of us. It's sad and painful to think that we're believing the fragmented mirror. Imagine yourself, your sense of self. Imagine who you are. It's almost like it's just a mirror that you have. It could be a small size mirror, like you have it in your bag, you have it in your purse, you have it in your pocket. It's like, hey, I want to get out and show you my shiny, beautiful mirror, and I can turn it towards myself and see myself clearly. I can hold it up to you and you can see yourself clearly. And it's that clarity that is the foundation for honesty. It's that clarity that's the foundation for I really want to be in a relationship with you. Not some version of you, not some just a distracted, manipulated, false version, but I really want us to look clearly into this mirror. And that's how we're going to be able to share our sense of self with each other. And when we do this, we're going to come to feel a greater sense of wholeness, of belonging. I just belong in this world. I know my place. I know where I fit. And that snow globe, that distressed, anxiety ridden snow globe of my sense of self that gets really stirred up so easily, and the wind blows through me. Over time, that starts to be replaced. It's as if we remove that, and this mirror, the mirror sits and is settled in the core of our solar plexus, the core of our chest, our what we would call our heart. And so then being in relationship is this ability both to see our heart and to see the other person's heart without obstacle and without broken pieces getting in the way. As heightened as all this language is, and at times it moves into a bit inspirational or maybe even poetic, is that I really, however, experience it when I talk about this is being very, very, very foundational, very down to earth truth, and that this is not aspirational. This is at the core of your humanity, of our humanity, of my humanity. And that means being human. And that means being here. So it doesn't have to be this grand, heightened, poetic experience. It's also in the everyday exchange of sharing a cup of tea with a friend, the everyday exchange of picking up the phone, hearing your friend's voice on the phone and saying, "What's wrong? What's going on?" That you're responding, you're showing up. And that is mirroring, to show up for each other. And it is a skill, one, to do it, but it's a skill to pick people who also want to practice doing that with you. And some of us pick people who they're so cautious about doing this that they limit their availability, or they would limit engaging at this level so that you both could practice mirroring the goodness of open-heartedness to each other. And with that, I'll leave you. That's the message here in this video. And this is what I do with clients. This is what I've been doing for 23, 24 years, is dropping down into a deeper relationship with your own moments of feeling fragmented, and starting to discover the times and the moments when you come into a sense of wholeness, and how hopefully you can meet a few friends. You might meet a partner, someone to date, who you can begin to practice sharing this degree of seeing them and being seen. And when we do that, that is what we experience as the sense of connection and the foundation of building a healthy attachment that we just call love, that we can trust and love the person that we're with. Thank you for listening. See you next time.